And it's like, huh? Who? Who? Because the person that we knew, of course we loved her. Of course, every day wasn't just her being mean and strict and all that as we felt when we were kids. But, we knew somebody that was a little bit different than who showed up at work. You know what I mean? And the same is true for us. I bet that a lot of you that are with us today are the same way. You come home and you don't want to put on, because at work and outside the four walls of your home, you have to put on a lot. We have to put on. It's just kind of how life is. And I'm not saying that we're all fake, but I'm saying that we put our best foot forward when we're outside of the four walls of our home. Whether it's at church on Sunday with our nice long dresses and our Bibles tucked under our arms, or if it's at work, we sit in our desk and we, do our work and we say hi and we ask if anybody needs any extra help, with anything. In a grocery store, we let people get in front of us because they only have one item. We're just so nice and kind everywhere else. But when it comes to home, we're not always that nice, kind person that we should be, that we ought to be. So we have to remember that kindness counts. Kindness is important at home, especially with your husband, especially with your wife. Again, this is the person that told the world that they want to spend the rest of their life with you. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with someone that's mean? With somebody that doesn't show you kindness? With someone that doesn't want to get you a bottle of water from the refrigerator? No, you want somebody that's going to be kind to you. Everybody wants somebody that's going to be kind to them. So we have to remember that we have to show kindness. We have to be that best person, not only outside of the four walls of our home, but at home. And especially if you are, if you're married to someone who's not a believer, it's even more so important that we are, examples of Christ, and that we are examples of what it is to be a follower of Jesus. If we're coming home with a big attitude, we're talking about, I'm not cooking, talking about, just being mean. How is that going to draw somebody to Christ? How is that going to, show anybody that you are any kind of a Christian, right? If anything, that's going to push people away. That's going to push someone away. So we want to make sure that we are always demonstrating kindness. And it's hard, you guys. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's something that you have to be intentional about, just as it is with showing compassion. We have to be intentional about how we show compassion and intentional about showing kindness. So make sure that we are, like I said, deliberate with the things that we're doing. If there are things that your husband likes, that that he likes, that you used to do, continue to do them. Do them again. Let him know that what you're doing are attempts to show him kindness, attempts to show him love. And I bet you don't even have to tell him that you're trying to be kind. So don't, how can you say you love God and love your spouse How can you say you love God and love your spouse the same? Elaborate. Elaborate. I'm not sure I get that one. Yeah, so anyway, show kindness, you guys, and not love your spouse. Right. Is that what you were saying, Nika? And not love your spouse? I probably just can't read. That's probably what the issue is. You guys, seriously. Yeah, no, I mean, truly though, that's how can you talk about you love God and you're a Christian and all this and that, and you come home and the devil shows up. You're cussing and you're throwing stuff and you have an attitude all over the house, stomping up all down the stairs, and you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you don't want to show your husband affection, you think you're punishing him by not being intimate with them, and you're just the worst, the meanest person. But you said you want to call yourself a Christian. You said you want to say that you're showing others to Christ. Come on, you guys, let's get it together. You know better. So offering compassion, being kind, and the other thing is showing humility. I'm looking at my notes, you guys. Showing humility. none of us are perfect. And I think showing humility is one of the hardest things that we as Christians have to do. It's hard. Hey, Whitney, it's hard because, we like to pretend that we have it all together. We like to pretend that our marriages are perfect. We like to pretend that even as individuals in our marriage, we like to pretend that we're okay, that nothing hurts. Yeah, pride is the killer of so many marriages. Pride is the killer of so many things just in general, Ambassador Moore. I mean, just in work, you're too proud to say you need help, so your whole team fails, So, going again, humility is so important. Humility comes at the foundation of forgiveness. When you have to forgive and when you're asking for forgiveness, you need to come with a humble heart. And there are so many times in marriage where we need to admit that we're wrong, when we need to seek our spouse's forgiveness. But we can't do that if we don't have a humble heart. We can't do that if we're not willing to take a step back, look at ourselves and say, I didn't get that right. I erred here. I didn't get that right. I should have handled this a different way. I should have done things differently. If we're not willing to have that humble spirit and to really take a look at ourselves with, objectively, I guess you could say, we're going to struggle when it comes to forgiveness. We're going to struggle when it comes to those things that are at the core of our marriages, at the core of what makes our marriages work. Forgiveness. So being humble, having a spirit of humility, super important. Humility comes from security with God and yourself. It stems from insecurity. Yeah, that's a super, super great point. Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's when that's something that we can offer on a regular basis, it just opens up so many opportunities for us to connect with our husbands and our wives, our spouses, on so many deeper levels. When you're willing to be vulnerable enough to say, I got that wrong, or I'm sorry, or I'm not the best at this, or I need help. And I'm not talking about help me clean up the house. I'm talking about I need help. My person, my spirit, I need help. And husband, I need you to pray for me. I need you to, continue to cover me because I'm not getting everything right. I'm not always perfect. When you're at that place where you can fall on your face and say, I need help, then you're opening your marriage. You're being vulnerable, yes, which we should be in our marriages, and we will be in our marriages, whether we like it or not. When we're at that place where we can just open ourselves up, our marriages become so much richer, so much deeper. We're connecting on levels that beyond just the surface, and early in marriage, that's something that isn't always there. There isn't always that deeper connection, that comes from just knowing someone so intimately. But you can't get to that level unless you open yourself up, unless you allow yourself to become vulnerable. Praying together in marriage will help with humility. At its core, prayer is humbling. Yes, absolutely. Of course, because when you're praying, you're telling God, I need you. I need you. When you need something, that's because you don't have it all. You don't have it all. So you're asking and praying for help. You're praying to be filled. You're praying for, all of these things that you feel you need. You're praying for that. So yeah, we have to be humble. We have to show humility in our marriages. Vulnerability is super scary in every situation. In every situation, vulnerability is super scary. And I think at the core of a lot of relationships that aren't working out, that are rocky, is our fear of letting go of becoming vulnerable. It's our fear of becoming vulnerable, allowing someone to see what we're really made of. That's hard for us. it's hard for us because by the time we get married, we've lived, what, 20, however many years, and it's ingrained in us, society's ingrained us to be strong and to be fearless and brave and independent and all these wonderful things. But we're still in the flesh. We still are vulnerable people. We have feelings. We have, all of these things that make us vulnerable. All of these things these experiences that we've had, things that we've done that are wrong, secrets that we have locked deep in our closet that we don't want anybody to know about. All of these things make us vulnerable. Just living makes us vulnerable. Because we don't always get it right. In our marriages, we won't always get it right. So all those missteps, they add to that sense of feeling vulnerable. But like I said, I think at the core of a lot of marriages that are rocky is that unwillingness to become vulnerable with each other, unwillingness to get on that deeper level. We say we want to get on that deeper level with our spouses. We say we want to connect, in a deeper way. But do we really? Are we willing to let go of those secrets? Are we willing to be open? Are we willing to? We don't want to be judged, I think is what it is. We don't want our spouses to look at us a different way. Marriage is work, not for the weak. We have to be willing to change for the end goal. Yeah, absolutely. But, along with being vulnerable and along with, being open is we like not having people judge us. We like not having our spouses look at us a different way. We like our spouse, we like to make our spouses think that we're the same person that they thought they married. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want them to know about all of our deep, dark pasts, all of our deep, dark secrets. We don't want anybody to know about those things. Because as soon as we open up and as soon as we let that show, as soon as we let them know about our, past, that makes us vulnerable. That makes them see us in a different light. That makes us see us as maybe someone that doesn't make good decisions. We need to let go of trying to prove our point and just shut up sometimes. Preaching to me, right? Okay. My pastor wrote a book, Shut Up and Pray. You guys, we got to shut up and pray sometimes. Just zip it, lock it, put it in the pocket. Shut up and pray. But yeah, I think a lot of times that's true. But I think it's also important that we communicate. We have to communicate when there are things that make us feel vulnerable, and like I always say, if God brought your spouse to you, if this is truly the person that you're to be with, then it's okay. Then it won't be this big. It may hurt for a little while. It may cause ruffles in your marriage. Absolutely. I'm not saying that he or she is just going to accept your issue with, just all happy smiles and give you a box of chocolate. Right, there's a time for everything. But I think that it's important that at some point you need to address some of those deeper issues, because like I say, those things will come up, those things will surface in some way, shape, or form in ways that you may not realize, that could really impact your marriage in a significantly negative way. So, communicating, I was talking about humility, but, humility and vulnerability go hand in hand. So we need to show more humility, offer more humility in our marriages in order to strengthen our marriages, but in order also to open that break down the walls of communication. We need to be open. But the same is true when we are communicating with our spouse. When they share things with us that are meaningful to them, we can't turn around and just start judging them and talk about, oh, really? Oh, I wish I had known that 5 years ago. You know what I mean? We can't start, because that's not loving. That's not showing them love. That's not showing them acceptance. That's not showing them that regardless of what the situation is, I love you. That's attacking them. And you know what happens?